One of the best ways to recognize somebody for the accomplishments that they have during their career is to dedicate an entire day to them. Well, May 6th, 2022 has been declared as Chris Olave Day. Here on today's show, we will discuss an award that Chris Olave is the betting favorite to win at the end of his rookie year. And Ross Jackson from Locked On Saints will join us to help us on all about how the New Orleans Saints plan to use Chris Olave during his rookie year in the National Football League. You can hear all that and more right here on Locked On Buckeyes.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Friday, May 6th in the year 2022, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen of every single day. Chris Olave Day. At some point, it was going to happen. At some point, we were bound to recognize and show immense appreciation for the things that Christopher Olave has done or what he did at the Ohio State University. But the best thing about this is his playing days are not over. He plans to go to the NFL and to have another career, a better career than what he had at Ohio State in the National Football League. Well, our good friends at BetOnline.ag have put together their updated betting odds for who is going to win NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Technically, there are 3 Buckeyes on the list. 2 that played at Ohio State last year, and then 1 that was at Ohio State the previous year. Jamison Williams is on this list, as well as Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. We'll go 10 through 1, letting you know who the betting odds to win NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year are. And you'll like where you find Garrett Wilson's name and Chris Olave's. Number 10, it is Jamison Williams, wide receiver for the Washington Commanders. Number 9, Christian Watson, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Betting odds, he is plus 1,200 to win the award. Jamison Williams is plus 1,400. Number 8, Kenneth Walker III, running back for the Seattle Seahawks, plus 1,100. That's interesting. I'm not sure how things are going to go in Seattle without Russell Wilson. Will he be someone that flourishes up there, or will things for their offense take a step backwards because Russ is not there in Seattle? Number 7, former Georgia running back James Cook. He is in Buffalo, plus 900 to win this award. Also at plus 900, it is former Ohio State Buckeye wide receiver Garrett Wilson. He played for the New York Jets, also teammates with Jeremy Ruckert. Number 6, Treylon Burks. Number 4, Breece Hall. Number 3, Drake London. Number 2, Kenny Pickett. And number 1, your boy, Christopher Olave at plus 700. This is a tight race. The betting odds go from plus 700 for Chris Olave to plus 1,400 for Jamison Williams. Kenny Pickett and Drake London at plus 750. Breece Hall plus 800, along with Treylon Burks plus 900. Garrett Wilson and James Cook. This is going to be a tight race all year long. I do think that Chris Olave has a really good shot. No, I'm not just saying that because our good friends at BetOnline.ag have Christopher Olave at number 1. But you look at the Saints offense, the structure of the organization, the coaching staff, and who he's going to be playing with, who is throwing him the ball, who is on the opposite side. I think all of the cards in this deck are lining up properly. And when shuffling them, they're automatically going to go right back to Christopher Olave being at the top of this list. It's very, very hard in May to have a great grasp on what someone's going to do in the NFL on a new team. We have not had rookie minicamp. I believe that happens in the next week or so. Teams will have rookie minicamp. We haven't had OTAs. We haven't had training camp. We haven't seen any preseason games. We haven't done any of those things. So it is a little tricky to say Christopher Olave is going to be out there. But as we will hear later on with Ross Jackson, I almost said Rostifer. Don't know where that came from. When we get Ross Jackson here on the show, Ross will be very quickly to tell you why he loves the pickup, why he thought that Chris Olave was the pick when New Orleans moved up to the number 11 pick in the NFL draft, and why it makes sense and why he thinks that Chris Olave will flourish, absolutely flourish down in the Bayou. I think when you look at Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh, moving on from Big Ben is going to be a little interesting. Now, granted, Big Ben has not been the best Big Ben or the above average Big Ben that you would like for him to be throughout his career, the latter part of it. So it might be a little bit of an interesting thing there where the transition is not as difficult as you might think with the Falcons and Drake London. Great. But is Marcus Mariota going to be the quarterback, or is Desmond Ridder going to be the quarterback? Do you want a rookie going to a rookie? Granted, you have Kyle Pitts down there in Atlanta as well, but the quarterback situation is very interesting. Breece Hall and the Jets. It's the Jets. That's all I'm going to say. The Titans and Treylon Burks. Do I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be that guy? I'm not a big believer in Ryan Tannehill. I think he's a good quarterback. Is he an above average quarterback or an elite quarterback? No, I think he's a good quarterback. But I just don't know about that one. Sorry, GW. You can flourish, but it's the Jets. Enough said. James Cook and Buffalo. Now, that one's interesting as well because we all know offensive line and quarterback are two things that help a running back. Because if a quarterback is getting a lot of attention and is manipulating things pre-snap, well, that could help James Cook flourish. Jameson Williams, it's possible, but I think he's going to have a Alabama-esque season like he had last year to win this award. I just don't see that happening. I do think things are lining up for Chris Olave. And say whatever you want to about Mr. Jameis Winston. He can sling that rock. Cross and I talk about it. I mentioned a couple times with Russell on the show about how I view Jameis Winston's workout videos. And there's a word that comes out that describes my feelings about his workout videos and how I feel every time I watch him work out. But Jameis can sling that thing. Jameis is a starting quarterback in the National Football League. And Jameis is a guy that is not afraid to take the shots down the field. Jameis is a guy that's not afraid to work in new guys. Jameis is a guy that I do think gets disrespected, but I do think is going to be able to flourish this year with Michael Thomas on one side and Christopher Olave on the other. Today is Chris Olave Day, and it's great to hear that before he's even played a game in the National Football League, before he's even put on a Saints jersey in rookie minicamp, he is an early sight. He is the betting favorite, and he's the favorite by many outside of the betting odds to win NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year during the 2022 football season. And joining us now here on Locked On Buckeyes, it's a guest that we've had on a few times. He's the host of Locked On Saints. It's Ross Jackson. He's back. He's a busy man, but he's making time to talk about a man that he's been trying to get on the Saints for quite some time.
Man.
His wish actually came true. Ross, you're happy. You're smiling. Olave's in the Bayou, man. This is a good day for Buckeye fans and New Orleans Saints fans as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, you and I have been talking about this for 2 years now. Chris Olave to the New Orleans Saints, because we were looking at Chris Olave maybe coming out last year. Wisely went back to school. I'm not mad at him for it. He put up a fantastic season last year with that big, trio of receivers there. And he goes back to back with his guy, Garrett Wilson, here in the NFL draft. But most importantly, ends up with a former Buckeye and Michael Thomas in New Orleans, where I had hoped he would be for some, 800 plus days at this point. So I was very, very excited to see the move up happen and then the selection happen for sure.
Ross, first round. I was not tweeting much the first 5 picks because I did not want to tweet very much the first 5 picks. I think things really started in the NFL draft when at number 8, Drake London went to the Falcons. Now, You may want to say, Jay, well, Aiden Hutchinson didn't go number 1. Well, the rumors were that he was not going to go number 1 starting a couple days prior, and that actually happened. And so I saw number 8. I said on the show here, I said if Kayvon Thibodeau slips to number 8 to the Falcons, the Falcons are going to take him no matter what. You cannot pass on that type of talent. Yes, they need receivers. They need a lot of stuff, but you can't pass on Kayvon Thibodeau. But Drake London goes number 8. I don't even care who went number 9 because I didn't think it was going to happen anyway. I said the next best spot for Garrett Wilson was Garrett Wilson to go to the Jets. So 8 was going to be Garrett Wilson or Thibodeau, ultimately being Drake London. And then Wilson goes at number 10. And I said, okay, well, you got 2 receivers out in the top 10. The Saints need a receiver. The Saints want Olave. Can they wait till number 16? These are literally my thoughts in real time. The next thing I know, somewhere on my TV, there's a trade. Somebody moved up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is it really going to happen? And then the Saints got Chris Olave at number 11 overall. What were your thoughts when that trade to move up took place?
Oh, I immediately thought that it was for Chris Olave. I didn't expect that they were going to do it, but when I saw that the trade happened, I figured it was for Chris Olave. I think a lot of people expected that maybe it was a move up for Malik Willis, but I just knew that the New Orleans Saints were not really in the quarterback market this offseason. They're very happy with Jameis Winston. He's expected to be back for training camp and everything, so they're not really stressed out about the quarterback position. And that was confirmed afterwards, after the draft and the sort of post-draft presser with new head coach Dennis Allen, who basically said, look, quarterback was a space that we didn't feel like we needed to try to address. And so you could see that from the New Orleans Saints. So I knew that going in, that quarterback wasn't a spot that they were really targeting in the first round. And so them moving up to 11, it felt like, okay, they have their guy on the board. They love Chris Olave. This has to be the move for Chris Olave. So I just want to, can I set this up? Can I paint the picture for you a little bit?
The floor is yours.
We're at the live NFL draft coverage, right? We did this really awesome Locked On NFL live draft coverage.
It was
Jay.
dope. It was dope.
It was awesome. You took part in it. It was all great. Like, there was so much throughout all this. And so I'm in studio, right? I'm up in the control room waiting on trying to get David Harrison into the Zoom for the Commanders' upcoming pick. And all of a sudden, the Saints are trading, right? And then the conversation on the couches is like, this has got to be from Malik Willis, right? And I'm just smiling, like ear to ear, because I know this is for Chris Olave. I have just the biggest grin on my face the entire time. And so when I tell you, I walked into that studio to go downstairs and give myself my flowers live in front of everybody. I walked in with that $1 million man walk, that Vince McMahon walk. I had the confidence of a high school quarterback with a pretty face. I was ready to go in there and say, they got Chris Olave. And they were all talking about Malik Willis. I'm already seeing it on my phone. Chris Olave's in New Orleans Saint. Bam. I'm ready. I'm done. And so I get the opportunity to waltz out onto that studio floor and say, the pick is Chris Olave. I was so happy. I was so happy about it. But I never bought into the idea that they would be into quarterback in this class.
That didn't make any sense to be a quarterback, especially, well, maybe later. But you say this class. So I'm thinking first round, right. 16, 19, originally 18. Where they get a quarterback? To me, no. You got Jameis. Right. Say whatever you want about Jameis. He's a starting quarterback in the National Football League. And I do believe the Saints can build around him and be successful with it. I'm not saying, I don't know how far, how deep into the playoffs. Yeah. I don't know all that stuff. But I do believe you could win games and be successful with Jameis Winston as your starting quarterback. As cringeworthy, as much as I cringe when I watch his workout videos, Ross, they had the one that goes on Twitter. It was yesterday or the day before when he is going around those bags and the guy swipe at the ball. Every movement looks like it hurts, but if it's what gets him 5,000 passing yards, so be it. And as long as Michael Thomas and Chris Olave get 1,000 of those passing yards, I'll be happy. But I didn't think that was going to be quarterback. But I do think we're seeing the Saints had their eye on their man. You talked about it. It made a lot of sense. I'm getting videos sent to me from my buddy in New Orleans. Well, he's in Texas now, but he's a Saints fan of his reaction in a bar when the draft pick went down. Your reaction, I wish I was there live to see it because I think it would have been amazing just to be like a fly on the wall. Oh, Ross is going to the studio. Ross is going on stage, and Ross is going to do his little walk, and Ross is going to announce some things that nobody's talking about. I would have loved to see that. But it made sense. It made sense. If you can get your guy and two of the top receivers in the draft are gone by number 10, go ahead and do it. Because I say that because there were talks that the Commanders at 11 were going to take Olave. Right. So the Saints weren't going to be able to get him at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was the big piece for them is that the Saints saw the run and wide receivers beginning, right? You had 4 or 5 maybe top wide receivers in this year's draft. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, of course, were 2 of them. Then you also had Drake London, who, as you mentioned, was the first wide receiver off the board to the Atlanta Falcons. And then you can argue in between some of the other guys that were there, whether it be, Treylon Burks, and then, of course, Jamison Williams, who's up at the top. So either 4 or 5 of these top wide receivers were there. And the Saints were not about to miss out on their guy, right? They focused on defense pretty much the entirety of free agency. The only offensive addition they've made in free agency was adding Andy Dalton as their backup quarterback, and then, of course, the players that they've re-signed and everything. And then Blake Bortles asked to be released, but yeah. So for them to go into this draft and go offense right off the bat, it made perfect sense. And Dennis Allen told everybody right after the press conference, and Mickey Loomis said it too, Chris Olave was the target. Chris Olave was the guy. They traded their first round selection that they had already moved up and moved around in order to get 16, in addition to their third and fourth round selections at 98 and 120 in order to move up. That's heavy capital to pay, but for the New Orleans Saints, in terms of their look at like their largest hole and what they had to fill over on the offense, and knowing that Chris Olave was their target, they would have given up more to go up and get him. That's how much they loved Chris Olave and how much they're excited to. Like, he and Michael Thomas, they're already working out together. They're already starting to build the chemistry and everything. They've been connected over, years at this point. I talked to Chris Olave at the Combine about that and his relationship with Michael Thomas and how excited he would be to play opposite him. And now that's a reality starting in 2022.
We are here with Ross Jackson. He is the host of Locked On Saints. Ross, story time's over. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the X's and O's, more of the strategy that the Saints have. How do you see this fitting in, this fit between Olave and the Saints? Why? We know why, because that was their guy, but how do you see him being acclimated into what the Saints do on offense?
Yeah, I think he's got a pretty good head start because of the guy that he operated across from at Ohio State over the course of the last couple of seasons in Garrett Wilson. You look at Garrett Wilson's 2021 collegiate season, 51% of his routes were run as short or intermediate in-breaking routes, which would mean that there's a change of direction that brings him toward the center of the field as opposed to going outside toward the sideline. So slant routes, ins or digs, curls, things like that bring him toward the middle of the field. That is very much Michael Thomas's arsenal as well. Now, I expect Michael Thomas to push a little bit more vertical now that the quarterback arm strength isn't a limitation for the New Orleans Saints, or doesn't, cause different play calls and things like that. And so now you have a guy in Chris Olave who's able to be a bit more of a field stretcher. And I don't want to say that Chris Olave is only a speed guy. We know that that's not the case, right? He's got incredible short area quickness, phenomenal change of direction. The guy can stop on a dime. He's a threat at all 3 levels. So they're going to get him mixed into a bunch of different areas of the field, and they're just going to try to get the ball in his hands. But his immediate ability to be able to complement a guy like Michael Thomas is evident because of the fact you can use these guys on both sides of the field. One of the Saints' favorite route combinations is a route combination that comes from the same side of the field. It's the outside receiver and the slot receiver that are operating together. And it's a Mills concept is what it's called. So the slot receiver runs an in route, or basically goes, up 7 to 10 yards and then cuts at a right angle immediately toward the center of the field. And then the outside receiver over the top of that runs a post route. So what it does is that it forces the safety, particularly in a single high situation, to either come down to try to defend that deep in route, or pull back to try to keep away from or try to keep the deep pass from getting connected. The key here is using Michael Thomas in the slot and then Chris Olave actually on the outside, because Michael Thomas will present such a threat that safety sees coming down as a legitimate piece, in terms of his assignment, who probably doubling or bracketing Michael Thomas. And then the one-on-one coverage gets the opportunity, or Chris Olave gets the opportunity of the one-on-one coverage to be able to beat and win for that post route over the top. So there's going to be a lot of different ways they're going to be able to mix and match what they do with Michael Thomas, because they both have such inside-out versatility and they have such an expansive route tree that no matter where they are on the field, they should be able to complement one another.
Something just hit my mind. 2019 season, 2020 season, he had the same quarterback. Justin Fields, phenomenal quarterback. Last year, different quarterback. Olave didn't miss a beat.
Right.
And I'm now thinking about Jameis, as Jameis is working in these videos. I'm not going to stop talking about them. They're hard to watch at times. But Olave has something that some guys in college, they have 1 year under one quarterback. They've been there the entire time together. Then all of a sudden, boom, they flourish. He's gone after 1 year. He's draft eligible. He's gone to the NFL, but he's only really caught passes from one guy.
Mm-hmm.
He got Justin Fields. He got caught passes from a future NFL player. Well, his health and things hold up with C.J. Stroud. He's going to go to another guy. I do think that transition from 2020 to 2021 to 2022 with different quarterbacks, we saw Olave not miss a beat when Stroud came in. I'm thinking he's not going to miss a beat. If anything, he's going to go up a level because he's a pro. He has better coaches, better nutrition, better everything. But I really do think that transition from quarterbacks that he saw in college is going to really help him his rookie year with Jameis Winston, who Jameis is going to try to make all the chemistry work as quickly as he can with Olave and Michael Thomas on the outside.
It's a really, really good point. And he's seen regime changes at several levels. Chris Olave has it. So his ability to be able to now transition into the pros with new coaching, new quarterback play, new teammates and everything, it's a really great point. It's going to allow him to be able to acclimate maybe a little bit more quickly than you usually see. But you look at the wide receivers over the course of the past 4 years that have come in as first-round wide receivers, and maybe with the exception of, I don't know, N'Keal Harry probably and Jalen Reagor, the success of wide receivers in the NFL has been pretty blanket. I mean, it's been pretty outstanding the way that these guys have been able to transition to the next level and immediately impact their team. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chris Olave do exactly that. And his ability to be able to mesh and mold with Jameis Winston is going to be important, but I have no doubt that they'll be able to do that. Jameis Winston, I don't think, gets enough credit as a leader when it comes to what it is that he does. I know that people like, again, like the workout videos, they're funny, they're fun, like all that other stuff and everything like that. But like when we're at practice and we see these guys together, when we're at training camp and we see these guys together, when we're, in the booth and we're watching these guys from the sideline, you see what Jameis Winston does and the way that he brings all these guys together and everything. And so I'm excited to see him step into more of that leadership role. And then the Saints, of course, continuing to build leadership by bringing in a guy like Tyrann Mathieu. They've already got Demario Davis. They've already got Cam Jordan. So even though the leadership may not all be on the offensive side, it doesn't mean that it's not present. And I think Chris Olave is going to benefit from that, having strong leadership all across the entire team. Him being a leader himself, which was a big focus for the New Orleans Saints draft class. You look at everybody across the draft class, they all have some leadership capability or some leadership experience, whether it be team captains, whether it be leadership councils, whether it be conference councils, all of this other stuff. You can see all of it across this draft class. And Chris Olave, I think, finds himself in a really good situation in an offense that needs him, an offense that needs his skill set and his tool set, and an offense and a team, rather, that's going to be able to put good leadership around him to hopefully be able to ease his transition into the NFL and create an opportunity for an immediate impact.
Ross, really quickly, I got about 20 seconds before we got to close out. Are you worried about his slender frame?
Oh, no. This is a guy that was the number one receiver in this year's draft class in terms of win percentage against man and win percentage against press. It's going to be different against NFL competition. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're heavier, all of that. But he has the experience of winning in those situations, and you'll take that experience as a good starting off place for sure.
Ross, tell the people that are listening, not watching via YouTube, where they can follow you on Twitter, and also some more things that they can check out, because I know this Chris Olave talk is not going to stop with you on this show.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm going Chris Olave all off season. I actually broke down some of the route concepts, some of the things that both Chris Olave and Michael Thomas will be able to run together in the New Orleans Saints systems. You can find that over on the Locked On Saints podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube as well. We've got some write-ups as well coming up about who is going to be a very dynamic duo over at SaintsWire at saintswire.usatoday.com. And of course, the easiest way to keep up with all that is just to follow me on Twitter at Ross Jackson, NOLA. New Orleans Saints coverage, therefore a lot of professional Buckeyes coverage, because that's the way these two teams work together. So I got your back. I got you covered.
My guy, you know what's coming up. Buckeye road trip around the NFL. We'll be back this offseason. You got my guy Pete Werner. No more Malcolm Jenkins. Michael Thomas is back as well. A lot of good stuff coming from Ross. He'll be back on the podcast probably sooner than you think. We haven't talked about that just yet, but I just know how things worked out. Ross, thanks for coming back on the podcast, man. I really
always
appreciate
a pleasure.
it.
Yeah, bud. Always a pleasure.